everybody, welcome. So this is my series basically going over the pillars of photography for anybody who's trying to get into the game like I was. I am a hobbyist who's somewhat of a professional, but still consider myself a relative source of information for anybody who's willing. Today we'll be going over the depth of field. It will be part one of my series going forward about the pillars of photography. Next episode will be about sharpness. Hope you stay tuned. The depth of field is the plane of distance in which your subject that you're trying to photograph is in focus. So anything behind that or in front of that is considered to be out of focus. Depth of field matters because it's important in a portrait setting to have maximum sharpness when you're focusing on the eye. Typically, most people expect their eye to be the center of focus in any portrait setting. If you're even a hair front focused or back focused, you're going to notice that immediately on a blow-up image of whatever you're hoping to print out. Maximum professionalism is achieved by always focusing on the eye. Now, the benefit of certain camera brands is that they can have eye autofocus, such as the new Canon cameras, a lot of Fuji cameras, Sony cameras especially. That's the big brand for autofocus right now. And you may not even have to worry about this in the future, but just a standard of practice, you know, eyes for portraiture is the way to go. What does f-stop have to do with the depth of field? Well, lower numbers such as f1.2, 1.8, around there, will have the maximum amount of bokeh in the background and the smallest depth of field. What's accomplished by having a small depth of field is having maximum sharpness. A lot of lenses are favored for having their sharpness, whereas the higher numbers, such as f16 or f32, depending on the lens, will have a large depth of field, but the sharpness will diminish because it's expanding that focus over a larger plane. How this is achieved is through the aperture blades opening and closing, smallest when it's at f32 or f16 or whatever the maximum aperture is, and widest when it's at f1.8, f4, f5.6, whatever that lens happens to be. What's really interesting is you could achieve a lot of cool techniques by playing with the FStop and by playing with your other settings as well, which we will get into in future videos. Now, this isn't that important, but another thing to mention is the hyperfocal distance, and that is the distance between you, the photographer, and the far end of the maximum plane of focus. So you have your plane of focus, your area that's front focus, which is out of focus, and then there's you, the photographer, taking the photo. The distance between you and that plane of focus, including the front focusing, and you, is included in the hyperfocal distance. It's really not that important, but it's important to know it for how much you want to compress the background for higher millimeter lenses, for example. Shorter lenses or wider lenses, depending on how you view it, will produce a wide angle image and will provide you a lot more to see with that depth of field than, say, a telephoto lens that has to compress a lot of that image. However, the benefit of using a longer lens, so to speak, is that your depth of field will be noticeably larger, and, well, because it's compressing more of the image, not because it's actually changing. And the background will compress too. Like, let's say you have something interesting far away that you want to include in the image. Another nice technique to have. As you can see in the video I have up on the screen right now, you will see the plane of focus moving forward and backward when I change the depth of field distance. This change is to illustrate where exactly the depth of field is and to show how the depth of field moves when you move around the manual focus dial. For anybody who's still here, thank you for watching the video. I hope I answered your questions. I hope I catch you in a future video, and have a good day.